G'day guys, and welcome to everybody watching at home to the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8-T2 E-Series, or should I say the development series, at the lovely Longbeach circuit for the Longbeach 100. Now, I've got Aiden Schultz alongside me for tonight in commentary. Aiden, how are you, mate?
Hello, Matt. How are you? How exciting is this? Round one of the development series. It's going to be a really good race tonight on a tough track. I'm looking forward to it.
Mate, I can't wait. It is going to be action-packed. There is a lot of new guys, a lot of privateers, a couple rookies in the season. It's going to be action-packed. 17 weeks, a lot longer than what the last season was, but I'm absolutely pumped for it, and I can't wait to get it underway.
Yeah, so am I. 17 weeks. It's going to be a lot longer as usual. So we come to a really tough track for round one. So coming out of this one with a good result will be a good start to the season. There are 2 drop rounds this season, and for some of them this may be it because this is a really tight and technical track. But it's going to, looking at some of the practice times, it's going to be a really tight race.
It definitely is, mate. 100% it is. It's Longbeach, it's a nice tight circuit, street circuit. Obviously, a lot of concrete barriers, and it's not forgiving. Little touch of the wall, and that could be your race done. But there's 33 laps tonight. It's going to be one mandatory pit stop for the boys, and it's gonna make for some very interesting racing, I should say. We've got, you know, 8 ages of all drivers. We've got the youngest sitting at 11, and I mean could have ages up to 50, 60 years of old age. So it's going to make it very interesting across the field to see the young guys battling out with the older guys. You've got inexperienced with experienced guys. It's going to make for some tight racing, and I can't wait to get this underway.
And you just touched on the youngest driver, 11-year-old Rehan Leonage, son of Lassith Leonage, which is the reigning NTS series champion.
Yep.
So he's got some good talent in his corner to get him into this. And again, going back to practice, looking at his practice times, he's right up there. So it's so good to see the range of people in ages being able to run. And this is what iRacing is about.
100% it is, mate. He's 11 years of age. He's getting into iRacing. He's following in his father's footsteps. Laz took out the series last season. Obviously rocking the #1 at the moment in the Super Series. His father's obviously given him his number 79 to participate in the development series here. And I'm really looking forward to actually seeing how he pulls up in his, could be his first actual action-packed race with a full field of 40 cars. And 40 cars around Longbeach, that's not an easy feat. As you can tell just by looking at the camera right here, we've got a bonnet missing already.
Yeah, and that's nothing unusual for Long Beach. It's a bit. I like to reference it like the Gold Coast 300, mate. She's got walls either side. She's very unforgiving. So it's going to be really smart for drivers to play the long game. I know it's a little bit of a short race in regards to laps, but you can really ruin your race early. So it's going to be really important to see where you qualify in this to get yourself out of the rubbish, to be honest. People are going to make mistakes, but turn 1 is going to be interesting to see whether they're going to have a smart head and a cool head, or whether they're going to get through there and play the long race.
100%. It's turn 1 into the roundabout around here is really key. If you can set yourself up and get a good run through there, not get any car damage, you're going to set yourself up for the long run throughout the race. You've got a lot of elevation change around here. As we stay on with number 91 here, you've got coming in up here over the right hander, you've got big elevation change over the curb, which tends to push the car right out to the wall. And then you've also got the elevation change around the left hander here, which really pushes the car over the bumps and unsettles it. And it's extremely easy just to loop the back end around and put her into the walls. So we'll get on and we'll talk about a few of the sponsors that are helping us along this series. Obviously, we've got our major sponsor for the race, which is the Goodyear Autocare Warana. Go down, check those guys out, get them to look after you. We've got the Blue Stampede Labour Hire, which is our co-naming right. We've also got a Brutzi Racewear, and I mean, these guys wouldn't be out on track with such a nice setup if it wasn't for the man Dan over at Conglett Engineering. He really sets these cars up nice. He squares them up nice coming out of corners. makes them turn in really nice and gives them a nice stable car to be able to perform around tracks such as Longbeach and Bathurst and difficult ones with elevation change and some really tight corners and get some really good action-packed racing out of it while you're in it.
Yeah, 100%, Matt. Without those guys, we wouldn't be able to go racing. So a big shout out to those guys. Anyone listening or following the stream, get on and like those pages and support those businesses, because without those guys, you wouldn't be able to watch this stuff that we're watching tonight.
That's exactly right. Now, currently just in qualifying at the moment, boys are out on track, getting some times in. We've got roughly about 20 minutes to go, I believe. We've got Kai Sloggett up on the top step at the moment with a nice 120.9. So he's really setting the pace for these guys, but it's over the top, in the top 10, you're only separated by a second. It's actually very, very tight and close over the top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see these guys perform in the race and see how they go and see how they manage it. It's a long race, track temps are high. It's going to put a lot of stress on these tyres, Aiden, and it's going to be interesting to see how they manage it.
100% it will, and it's funny you mentioned that with the tyres. You know, through the practice session, we saw about 0.6 of a second between first and about 7th from memory. I could be wrong, but we saw about that type of difference. But what I noticed on this track, being a tight road course, there's not much room for error, and it's a very technical track. But when they come in for these pit stops and they're behind someone that may not have pitted and they have the tyre wear, you can lose a lot of time trying to get track position, trying to do that undercut. So it's going to be interesting to see how guys manage their track position and how they transition through the race, because you can lose 2 or 3 seconds in that first lap out because it's a very hard place to pass, and you don't want to make that pass when it's not there. So it's going to be really, really good to see how people make those choices.
That's right, mate. I mean, as we just watched Max then, he's just clipped the inside wall there. And that's a prime corner there to get an overtaking move done. You're coming down a reasonably long straight. You're coming up to speeds of 200 k's an hour. You've got enough pace, you can get a little bit of slipstream to pull out, but if you just pull it in just a little bit too tight to that corner, on cold tyres, you can either lock it up and go flying straight through and completely miss the apex, or you can turn in too early to compensate for those tyres. And unfortunately, what Max just did there, clip the wall on the inside. So, and as you see, he's coming into the pits to get those repairs done.
And going on where Max was just coming out of the corner there, if you light the tyres up on the rear too early and don't select second gear to stop that wheel spin, that's a really quick way to ruin your tyre set, to be honest. So really need to manage those tyres and make sure the car's stable. Sometimes it's good to be quick, but it's not always good to have the quickest lap every lap. You need your car to last till the end.
Consistency is key around here, mate. If you can stay consistent, if you can look after not just your rears, but you need to look after your fronts on this track as well, because there's a lot of load on those front left and front right tyres that you don't really understand. And coming out of these tight corners with elevation change, as you said, you light those rears up, you're going to be torching those rears, you're going to be putting them under a lot of heat, and they're just going to burn out too quick, and you're not even going to be able to get the life out of them that you really need to. Yeah,
100%. And also, like, coming out of those tight corners, you also got to look, these are road courses, you've got painted lines, so they're coming out, those tyres might want to slip on that painted line and not to get the drive. So it's really important to position that car correctly so you get the right drive out.
Exactly right. Painted lines, street circuits and painted lines, they don't mix. And even in real life, we've got the V8 guys, you've got Wing Cup, you've got Deep Squall, you've got all those boys who even say painted lines in a V8 supercar, they don't go hand in hand. Even when they do rubber up, they still don't go hand in hand.
No, definitely not. And if we look at the top of qualifying now, we still got Kai Sloggett at the top, running a 120.19. But look how close behind Matthew Scholes is. He's only 0.005 behind him on a 120.24. So, and then again, third place with Nicholas Garrich at a 120.29. So those times we talked about in practice, they're doing this again in qualifying. Those times are super close.
Oh, 100% they are. And it's going to make for some action-packed racing. We're getting times like this straight off the qualifying bat. They're setting the table for not just qualifying not just this race, but they're setting the time and a target on their back really to go, hey, look, I'm the fastest in the field. Try catch me through this season and watch where I go.
100%. They're saying, yep, I'm here. Come catch me. See if you can catch me. They're setting the benchmark. They're all going for it. They've had a little bit of off time in the off season, so they're going to want to do their best in this race. So this is really a stamping point for a lot of them to go, hey, I'm here. Come beat me.
That's it. And we'll just rattle them off here. We've got 15 minutes to go. So as it stands, we've got Sloggett top on the qualifying here at the moment with a 120.19. But then you've got Skulls, Garage, Hockey. You've got Noble, Nash, McCarthy, Casper, Losh, Cairns, Stevens, Vassal, Antoniadis, Gaffer, Bruns, Alessi, Clark, Martin, Ben. It's massive field to go through here, Aiden.
Massive lift, Matt. And sorry to jump in, but you just mentioned Peter Antoniadis. He raced in the Bathurst 1000 that we were lucky enough to commentate on at the end of last year, and he actually made the top 10 shootout. So he's a good driver. Very new to the series. Definitely, 100%.
100% one to look out for. It's top 10 in the Bathurst shootout. I mean, that's something to behold. But to obviously I believe he got a fairly good result as well from, if my memory is right, but he got a fairly good result at the Bathurst 1000 as well. So he's definitely coming in with high spirits this season. He's relatively new, but he's also quick. So, I mean, we've got a bunch of rookies within the season. We've got Trent McCarthy from TSM Motorsport. He's a rookie sim racer. We've also got Todd Martin as well, who's a privateer actually from Victoria. He's in the rookie season for the Goodyear Autocare series. And there's a couple new guys to sim racing in general. So we've got Robbie Bradbury, he's new. So there's a lot of young talent, or should I say fresh talent, that's coming into this series that we haven't seen race yet, and I don't think many others have seen race. So it's going to be interesting to watch these guys and see how they perform.
Yeah, definitely. And we've just had Sam Noble come out of the pits, actually, I'm seeing on the timing, and he's set a lap of 120.5, which is not far behind Kai Sloggett. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can put a lap together and go that couple of tenths quicker to maybe shake it up a little bit.
Well, there's still plenty of time, mate. I mean, as it always happens, it's 5 minutes to go. In qualifying, that's when everyone puts in their best lap and really puts on a show. So, I mean, there's only 10 minutes to go before that 5-minute warning, and I reckon we're going to be in for a nice little treat at the end.
Yeah, they definitely are just seeking each other out and seeing what's going on, and that last 5 minutes is definitely going to be where it's all going to happen.
It sure is, mate. Now, obviously, we'll give the folks at home a bit of a rundown of what this series is. It's going to be challenging these drivers with different tracks, with varying race conditions, and obviously the mandatory pit stops. We can't forget about them. It's going to be tight, I guess, with how these guys are going to perform. A lot of them are gonna mess up on the first couple rounds, I guess, and obviously trying to get used to everything that happens within the series. But it's going to prove, I think it's at the end of this season, we're going to see some drivers who, especially the rookies, who have come in without a real idea of the obviously mandatory pit stops and all that sort of stuff, walk away with some really good knowledge and absolute amazing racecraft by the end of it.
Yeah, agree. And it's also, we've all been there and we race currently. So this is a new series, and all of these guys, some of them may have, but majority of them haven't raced against each other before. So it's really imperative to know how other people race and where they're going to put their car, whether they're going to give you room, what they're going to do. So as this series leads on and they're racing the same guys every single week, it's going to create better and better racing because they're going to know what they're going to do. They're going to understand what another driver will do in a particular situation. So that's going to create better racing. This is going to be amazing racing at this track because this creates amazing racing. But as the series goes on, as you mentioned, Matt, yeah, it's definitely going to get better.
That's it. I mean, we've got a whole heap of rounds in this series. I mean, we've got, from your Bathurst mini endurance to your super sprint rounds to just your normal sprint rounds. We've even going to be throwing in a reverse grid configuration. So it's going to really mix it up for these guys. I mean, with the endurance round, we've got the Melbourne Hydrographics Depot Triple Crown coming into it. So obviously you've got your Bathurst and then your 2 minis.
Sorry to cut you off, Matt. And we just see that on the side of Daryl Hockey's car now. I think that was Daryl, but we just see that on the side of the car we're following now.
Yep. Shane Clark, that is.
Sorry.
Shane Clark, yep. No, he's one of the MHD's drivers. Good bloke. I've actually turned a few laps with him out on track in the officials for iRacing. Nice bloke to race with, gives you plenty of room and keeps it nice and clean, which is what this series is all about. We don't want guys running into each other, running it off the road, constantly putting people into walls. We want nice, clean racing. Bit of panel rub here and there as you're coming into a corner or pulling out of it. But no, it's definitely a clean racer, which is what we want in this series.
And we see that with his qualifying time at the moment at a 1:20.89 to putting him just outside the top 10 in P11. So very consistent driving there and doing a good job. He'd want to get another extra couple of tenths, but we'll see how he ends up at the end of the session.
That's it. And as we've got young Rehan on screen at the moment, he's currently sitting down in 17th with a 1:20.9. So as the field starts to run through, mate, like if you look at the top 18, look at how much they're separated by. It is minimal. They are separated. 15th through to 19th are separated by 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one gear change, to be honest. You just miss your gear change, there's 0.3. So
that's it.
And we got the 11-year-old on screen now, as you mentioned, Leonard. So he was a little bit quicker in practice than where he is now in qualifying. I'm sure he'll be a little bit disappointed in that as a car goes around behind him.
And that's what you were talking about, mate. Sorry to cut you, but that's what you were talking about. Over those bumps, over the top of the hill there, it just unsettles the car that much, and that could cost you a qualifying lap when you're on a flying lap, or that can cost you the race if you're in the lead.
100%. But we're still on watching young Leonage now. I don't think he's on a quick lap now. It looked like he had a bit of mistakes earlier in the lap. We'll see whether he keeps going and does another hot lap now. It's not where I think his pace is, to be honest, from where I saw him practice to where he should be qualifying. As we said, and we'll reiterate, he's only 11 years old. So what this guy is doing in this car is absolutely amazing against some really good drivers. So hopefully he can put together a good lap and put his car a little bit further up.
That's it. I mean, look, you've got obviously Rian's 11 years of age, and then you've got Peter, who was racing in the Bathurst 1000 in the top 10 shootout. Like, he's up against guys like that who have already got the experience, who's raced in some fast races, I should say, and have competed at the high level that he's up against. It's really going to put him to the test, and I reckon it might have a few little nerves up him at the moment, young Rehan.
Yeah, and I think that probably shows in the lap time, probably overdriving the car a little bit. He was all good in practice probably, but we come into qualifying, so probably overdriving the car a little bit. It's easy for us to sit here behind the mic and have the opinion, though. We're not in the car. But we'll see.
It cut you off, mate. So,
yeah, right, mate. You're right.
But Kai Sloggett just went to a 1:20.13. He is absolutely on fire at the moment in qualifying.
He is going to be hard to beat with those times.
If he can post times like that during the race, I don't see why he won't be taking out first place tonight.
Yeah, but as we said, this track brings up lots of little tricky things. You never know. It's one gear change. It's one missed braking point. You can start off pole. It's like Daytona. You can start off pole and you can come 43rd. So that's what's exciting about this race at round one. We're coming in. We don't know what's going to happen. It's so exciting.
That's it. And I don't know where Kai Sloggett is at the moment on track at the moment. I think he's out on a oh, he's in the pits actually, I can see. Sorry. No, he's in the pits. But I was actually going to see if we could go for a bit of a hot lap with him and see what it's like to be on board, but I think we might be able to pick someone else out from the field, maybe just to go for a bit of an onboard shot and see what it's like to, from a driver's point of view, what it's like with the elevation change around Longbeach. What do you reckon, Aiden?
100%. Let's jump on board. Who are we going to jump on board?
You pick a driver. Look, you can pick a driver.
Let's go with the 058 that we're watching now, and let's do a lap with him. around Longbeach.
Andrew Johnson. So all new camera angles this season as well by Track Cams for Gourmet. I mean, this angle would have to be one of my favourites, I reckon, Aiden. It's the driver's cam, shows you how much the driver's getting thrown around in the car, and for the guys who are racing on the monitors big jump over the curb by Andrew. For the guys racing on the singles or the triples, you won't really notice that much, but for the guys who in the field that could be running the VR headset, and I know personally because I run the VR headset, you really do get thrown around the car a lot. You notice the car squatting, you notice the car dipping in the front under brakes, the roll, the elevation change, and how much you lose it over the rises. So it's really awesome camera angle from Track Cams for Gourmet. So I appreciate these guys for doing these.
Yeah, you do, and you definitely see all that type of stuff. But what you see more relevant, not more relevant, rather more prevalent, if I can get the word out properly, is the difference. People might sit here and they watch the stream and they go, okay, we're online sim racing. But it is really physical. You've got the force back feed through the wheel. You've got the pressure through your pedals. You've got everything going on. And you can really see, and what we saw through that lap there, was you could see where they have understeer and they're driving too hard into the corner, or you know, how they're driving the car, and that really helps other drivers as well when they come back and look at it, because they can go, oh well, hang on, I've gone too hard into a corner here, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's a really good tool for everyone, to be honest, whether it's a viewer, whether it's a driver. And like you see there, he was just braking straight over the painted line. That didn't help the car be settled going into entry.
No, and straight circuits like this, especially down the main straight at Longbeach, is probably one of the worst braking zones I personally have ever braked in. The car just doesn't want to sit. It wants to squirm in the back. It wants to lock a left as you're trailing the brake into the corner. It sometimes locks the right as you sort of peep over the pit lane line, because around Longbeach here, you're actually allowed to put about a quarter of the car over the blue pit lane line. So it really likes to lock the right, but then as soon as you take that load off and then start to turn your car in, it starts to lock that front left, and you can really overshoot that corner coming into the corner.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes, you know, they say the saying in motorsport, slow in, fast out, as your tyres go on and off in this, rather. I think that's more relevant. Slow in, fast out.
Longbeach is all about slow in, fast out. And I mean, we'll go away a bit from the cars here, but I mean, on my screen, I'm looking at these fantastic overlays that SD Gaming have provided us, and the master behind all of this work, JP, he's whipped it up in a matter of weeks, and they look bloody unreal.
Yeah, amazing. We're all involved in a lot of leagues, and this is some of the best overlays and broadcasting I see in relation to visuals for the person watching. So this is really good. It gets even better.
Almost like watching the V8s from home.
Am I not watching the V8s from home? Am I not watching the real V8s, mate?
No, it literally looks like it. And they've done such an amazing. SDK Gaming have really hit this out of the ballpark, and given the series something to really stand out from the rest of them. And the timing tower, the battle box, the qualifying boxes down the bottom. I mean, even the driver pop-up and the driver profile, they've absolutely nailed it, and they look amazing.
Yeah, 100%. But I really like this car on track at the moment, because KFC is one of my favourite foods. So,
did someone say KFC, Aiden?
I don't know. I love it.
Century Esports. Those guys have definitely some quick. And as we've got our naming right sponsor here, the Goodyear car coming around here into the hairpin.
And how good does that car look? That is beautifully presented.
That car is gorgeous. And as the Coghlan Engineering, or should I say the E1 Sim Racing entry goes around in the back there, coming out of the hairpin, but the Goodyear car looks beautiful. The yellow and the purple really stands out on track, and you can see it coming from a mile away.
And as you watch the broadcasts over the weeks, take notice of these liveries, because the guys go to a lot of effort to, as he's gone into the wall, it doesn't look as good now on the front right. But the liveries that these guys have, and they get painted or paint themselves, the effort they put into doing this is amazing. They look really great.
Oh, I mean, the mega cheer car right here, the pink stands out for me. Being a good bloke, I know it sounds a bit, on the other side, but, pink on a car probably would have to be one of my favourites because it stands out like no tomorrow.
Don't worry about the pink. If you like pink, you're a real man. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that, I believe. So I'll go with that one. I'm going to steal that one.
Mate, run with it, because I am.
Oh, beautiful. So we got 3 minutes coming up. 3 minutes left in qualifying, guys. We've got Kai Sloggett on the top of the leaderboard with a 120.13, then followed up by Matthew Scholes from Riot Sim Racing, and then Nicholas Garrioch. I believe I pronounced that right, Aiden. I believe you pronounced it earlier. Am I pronouncing that one right?
Oh, I say Garrett, but no doubt he'll correct both of us after the race. So.
Oh, well, we'll find out. So, yeah, we got Garage, we got Hockey, Nash, Noble, Lagarde, McCarthy, Stevens, Leonard, Booth, Casper, Losh, Cairns, Clark, Martin, Vassell, Anthony Artis, Gaffer, Bruns, Alessi, Black, Bradbury, Ben, Sadler, Racanello, Raw, Latham, and I just watched someone pop up on my timing board and move as I was reading it. Georgeson, we got Hayden, Johnson, Dalton, Kelly, Foster, and Gerlin, I believe, down in 35th position. So it's the times across the top 10 are tight, and the times across the top 20, it's all under a second.
Yeah, those times are amazing. We've mentioned that several times through the broadcast that we've had so far tonight. They're just super close, but
and it's,
to be honest with you,
mate. As it keeps going on, it's just, it's before it was at 10th, and now it was 17th, and now it's all the way into the top 20. So it's really showing that these guys are putting the practice, and they're really proving it to us right now.
Yeah, very close times. But we got to go into this race eyes wide open. We don't know what this track's going to pull up. So the fact that it's so close means we're going to be looking at an absolutely amazing race tonight. It's going to be nose to tail, and who's going to blink first. That's it.
And to be honest, mate, I'm just reading through some driver profiles at the moment. We've got Damien Cairns, who's a privateer. He's actually an ex-Air Force. I'm just going to call him a vet. There wasn't much detail here. But he was actually ex-Air Force pilot, I've just been corrected. He's now a current commercial pilot, but I wonder if this guy's going to put the afterburners on in this race and really send it.
Yeah, he might bring out his A370 Airbus and and have a go.
I was more thinking of an F-18, maybe,
or mate, possibly. You know the supercar's a bit of a bus too sometimes to drive, so that was my reference. Pardon the pun.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah, A380. Yeah.
But his hand-to-eye coordination would be up there, so it's definitely really good to see people like that joining the league. I don't be surprised if he finds himself up there at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, we've just had the young Leonard pop himself just outside of the top 10 there into 11th with a 120.82. So he's starting to find some pace, and quite a few guys over the field are starting to find some pace, especially down in the bottom 20. You've got guys just about to creep into the 120s. We're now 21st position. We've got 120.98. So it's really starting to tighten up through not just the top 20 now, but through the whole entire field. It's starting to really tighten up, and we're only coming down to qualifying's finished. So that's it. It's race time now. So they're all putting the race face on, and let's see what they can they pull out of the back pockets here.
Yeah, that looks like that's the end of qualifying, definitely. I'll just have a double check that. Yeah, there's no one else on a lap, so they've set the grid. They're ready to stack and rack it.
That's it, mate. Well, we've got our tracks, track info up here. We've got a track temp of 27 degrees at the moment, so it's nice and hot out on track, Aiden. It's going to really test these tyres. We've got it's partly cloudy currently, with a outside temp of 26 degrees, so it's warming up slowly, but it's that one key factor there, mate, and I'm going to mention it throughout the whole entire broadcast, is that track temperature. It's Once that starts creeping up, you start to lose the grip under the tyres. You start to slide the front a bit, start to slide the rear end, and start to chew through those tyres and the life of them. And the boys in the cars will definitely know, because their tyre life's going to degrade very, very quickly, and the car's going to become extremely squirmy.
Yeah, 100% agree. As that track temp heats up, it's going to be really important for that tyre deg. They do have one mandatory pit stop. How they use that pit stop is going to be interesting. It's all going to be based on track position, if I give you my honest opinion. Some people might come in early to get out of the congestion and try and do the undercut. The guys at the front are probably going to want to run as long as they can, rather, to try and go and then put the new tyres onto the end. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people use this. But then again, incidents are going to play a massive part as well.
We're bound to have a safety car here, mate. It's bound to happen. You're at a street circuit. You've got corners that can barely fit 2 cars wide. We're going to be bound to have a safety car.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So they're all gridding up, mate. So I'll hand it to you. You can do the run through if you like.
Yeah, most definitely. So with a great lap for the first race of the season, out of P1 we got Kai Sloggett, out of P2 Matthew Scholes, P3 Nicholas Garrich, P4 Abe Noble. Out of P5 we got Daryl Hickey, P6 David Nash. Off the 4th row, Dylan Lagarde and Damien Cairns. 5th row, Trent McCarthy and Daniel Stevens. 6th row, the 11-year-old Rehan Leonage and Peter Antoniadis. Out of 13 is Danny Vassal and Kyle Booth. 15 is Craig Casper. 16, Mark Losh. 17, Shane Clark. 18, Aaron Raccanello. 19, Stephen Martin. 20, Tony Gaffer. 21 is Colin Bruns. 22 is Dean Alessi. Out of 23 is Stephen Black, and rounding up the field is Robbie Bradbury.
My another page, mate. You called it early. That's a big field.
My apologies. 25, Luke Jorgensen. 26, Jonathan Bain. 27, Gavin Sadler. 28, Robert Brower. 29, Peter Latham. 30, Aaron Hayden. 31, Andrew Johnston. 32, Philip Dalton. Out of 33 is Peter Kelly. Out of 34 is Thomas Foster. 35th is Paul Gerlin. And that's the end of the field.
There we go. All right, well, it looks like we've got a full grid. Might be waiting on 1 or 2 more cars. Just waiting for this the lights to come up. Here we go, lights are up. Ready for round 1 of the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8-T2 E-Series, and they're underway. Kai Sloggett with an absolute blistering start, followed up by Matthew Scholes, getting pounded by Nicholas Garrich. Coming down, up the gears, into turn 1. Big braking zone. Did they make it through cleanly?
Who's going to be sensible around here?
Kai Sloggett got a nice entry through, bang into the roundabout. Oh, that looks like it's got through nice and cleanly. A little bit of squirming in the back there. Back ends are going to be everywhere. Cold tyres. Getting a feel for the track, getting a feel for how everyone else around them's going. A lot of drivers haven't raced together here.
Now this is the point of the race.
At the moment.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but this is the point of the race where they just want to settle in now and not fight too hard and just get into a groove. Get into a groove, get their place in the race, feel where their car's set. There's someone in the wall in the background there, that's not going to help, but just feel where their car is, get into the groove and feel how it's going to happen into the end of the race. Racing too hard now is not going to help you in the race.
No, not at all. Pushing your car now, burning through those tyres is really going to affect your lap times and definitely track position as you start falling back down through the pack. But, I mean, by the looks of it, everybody got through nice and clean through turn. Oh, as I see someone into the wall, we might have carnage down at the hairpin. It looks like they're all going into one another. Wonder if we can get a camera angle on that one.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a look at that. So we're just in the snap photography replay now.
Already missing rear spoiler. And nose to tail, nose to tail, nose to tail. Everyone, oh no!
Yeah, no.
All into one another. Backing into one another, losing panels all over the place.
And they're continually running into each other at that.
Race control is going to have a field day on that one, I believe.
Oh, it's going to be a long night for them. I wouldn't want to be awake.
By the looks of it, they've all checked up a little bit. We might have a safety car out on track, possibly. Looks like they're not racing, so we might actually... Yep, safety car out on track already. So that hairpin incident, mate, that's brought the safety car out.
It has. We knew that was coming. We've been speaking about that for the last half hour, and we knew that was coming. Yeah, obviously it's unfortunate for a lot of those cars to be involved in that. That's not going to help them with their race, but there is a fast repair, so if they do have damage, they can come in and come out and have another crack at it. And for those watching that don't know what a fast repair is, when you have damage, you can come in, you select your fast repair, and it doesn't affect your pit stop time. So, but you only get one of them in this series, and that's a really good initiative in this series, in my opinion. They are all learning, so it gives them a second chance, so to speak. So yeah, we're under caution now, and we're watching the leader slog it now, just roll around. But look who's in P7.
Oh, would you look at that? It is the young Rehan Leonage in the 79 NTS Esports entry.
Yeah,
He's made a bit of ground.
Started just outside the top 10. He's had a good start, so that was good for him. But as we just saw, anything can happen, but we're only 3 laps in. Let's just watch this caution period play out and go green again shortly.
Well, we've got the Lamborghini Hurricane of the Goodyear Autocare Warana livery on it as our safety car for this series. And again, the paint's been hit out of the park with it. It looks absolutely beautiful.
I'm sure they stole that from my driveway, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. I reckon it's in my garage, to be honest. Unless you've got the same car as me, mate.
We must do, mate. We must do, because I'm sure that was in my garage this morning.
We got Craig Schultz here as our safety car driver tonight. I think he might be in for a pretty full on night, because last night in the Super Series we didn't have one called, so we weren't allowed to get the Nationwide Tracking Systems safety car out. But I reckon Craig might have a busy night in the Lamborghini, but I don't think he'd be complaining, because that'd be a nice car to drive.
Most definitely. Beautiful car, beautiful livery. Just like all the cars tonight, as we mentioned earlier, all beautiful liveries. Yeah, great.
It won't be beautiful by the end of the night, mate. There's going to be a lot of panels left all over the track, I think.
Yeah, and that's the lucky thing about us doing e-racing, I suppose. We don't have the mechanics up till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to repair them. So that's positive.
Yeah, we don't have the team boss screaming at us because we just cost them another $300,000.
Oh, but they still might be running in teams, having the team boss screaming at them and going, "Why'd you do that?" So yeah, God knows what's happening in the background, but they're doing good so far. It's been a great start to the first round.
That's it. We'll run through the field. We've got Kai Sloggett leading from Scholes, Garage, Nash, Noble, Cairns, Leonage, Clark, Stevens, and Lagarde, which is rounding out the top 10. Heavy mover already in the field, actually, is Shane Clark in the Melbourne Hydrographics Depot entry. Made up 9 positions just on the first lap.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll equal that and go Colin Bruns in the car 111. He's come up 7 spots to be in P14.
Oh, it's few heavy hitters so far early in the race, and we've still got a long way to go, another 30 laps to go, so it's anybody's ball game now. There's a lot of heavy hitters in the field wanting to make moves and try and get up the front. Give it to Kai Sloggett, who's out there, and really, Kai Sloggett's got the target on his back right now. He's got the back on its back for the race, and they're going to be charging him down and trying to put a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, he sure does, but with Kai's pace, from what I've seen, in my opinion, if he puts together another 29 good laps, I think he's just got the edge on everyone else. But I don't know. It's going to be, it's one mistake. I think he's got the edge, but we've got to go through that pit stop period too. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys behind him that are going to be nipping at his heels and trying to make him make that mistake.
For sure. Here we go. Safety car lights are out. It's peeled away. Slog it through the hairpin. Nice wide line to get that car split up. Let's see when he's going to jump. Get ready. Get ready. And we're underway. Restart. Kai Sloggett bringing him across the start-finish line. Followed by Scholes, Garage, Nash, Noble, Cairns, Leonage, the 11-year-old. Shane Clark, Daniel Stevens, Dylan Lagarde coming down into turn 1. Do they get through cleanly again? Yes, they do. Coming into the roundabout. Boys getting through nice and clean again. I think they learnt from the first lap. Give each other plenty of room. Leonage on green, coming through. Elevation change. Tricky part of the track. Hopefully the tyres didn't cool down too much during the safety car. Bring it back up to them.
It looks like they may have a little bit, or he might be playing a little bit cautious at the moment, or he might have a little bit of damage. It looks like he's pulling off here. No, he's all right. He might have just cooled those tyres down a little bit more, and it's taken a little bit of time to come up to pressure. So
maybe. It's definitely a different line to take through that corner, but also it's a fairly smart line as well, because you get away from the bumps, and it also throws the other drivers off of what you're doing. Just been told though, he takes that line completely.
Oh, we're looking for a pass here. Looking on the pass from Leon. Oh, a bit.
Oh, Daniel Stevens up the inside of Leonage.
Sorry,
Leonage. That's all right, mate. That's all right. You got it before I did, mate.
So
nice little overtaking spot in that hairpin. If you can really, if you can shut the door on the overtaker, you can get a good run still down the main straight. But if you can pull up on the inside and make the guy that you're passing pull up and check up on the brakes, almost a complete stop, you're guaranteed there's going to be a few more cars coming up behind you to sneak through.
Yeah, what Leonage did really well there is he parked his car on the outside and he put his car on the racing line, so he was always going to get the drive out. So that was really smart driving from Leonage. He didn't fight too hard too early and got the drive out.
That's it. And you don't want to be fighting too hard right now. It's still, we haven't even completed 10 laps yet. There's still a long way to go in this race. And as we're just on screen there, Kai Sloggett at the fastest lap of 121.38.
And as I predicted, if he can keep doing them, he's going to be really hard to beat.
Yep, that's exactly right. So
we're seeing a lot of brake lock-ups into the corner here.
There might be a few guys out there running a lot of front bias tonight. And a lot of front bias around here isn't a bad thing, but it can be your worst enemy when it's especially these. Oh, as we have the Dragon RC come into the Century Esports entry with who was into the Century Esports, can't remember the name, but we had Aaron Raccanello coming into the side of the Century Esports there. So wonder if these two will make it up later with a bit of KFC.
I'm not loving it at the moment.
Aren't you?
No, I like the KFC car. He's not going. He's looking a little bit worse for wear. So, yeah, but that's unlucky for that car. But hopefully they can. They've got the fast repair. Whether they've used it or not, I don't know. So maybe through the pit stop they might be able to use that and recover that car moving into the back end of the race.
Yeah, well, maybe if Aaron can catch up to the back end of Casper, we might be able to get a front shot and give you a few nightmares of that car later on. Kyle Booth on Trent McCarthy here, coming down the inside there. Nice pass, nice clean pass. And it's still on, it's still on.
Still fighting. Who's going to give? Yeah, that was very smart driving there.
Just gave him the room, knew that he was beat already. Into the hairpin they come.
Oh, we had a bit of a check up there too. I reckon that rear bonnet of the KFC car is really getting a hammering tonight.
I believe it will be, mate. There's going to be a lot of rear wings missing. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of rear wings missing by the end of this race, especially through that hairpin. I reckon there's going to be a lot of check-ups. And a lot of guys giving a few nose to tails, and resulting from that might be quite a few incidences.
Yeah, well, they're all doing really well so far. We've only had one caution. going through. They've been really steady since we've gone back green. It's been good to watch. So now the race has settled down. So they're all getting in their groove now. They're all getting into their race pace. They're all going to settle down. Now they're going to be thinking about their pit stop. They're going to be thinking about when I'm going to do it, where is my track position, how's my fuel, how's my tyres, when am I going to do this? So the next 10 or so laps, if that, is when we're going to see who's going to blink first.
Well, here's a little bit of a thing. I'm going to ask you a question here about the race. What lap would you want to pit on if you were in Shane Clark's position right now?
Oh, if I was in Shane Clark's position in 6th, I would probably keep running with the leaders. Follow the leaders and do what the leaders do. You don't want to put yourself out of sequence, because the problem is, and depending where the back markers are, if you come out and put yourself behind the back markers, as I referenced earlier, rather in practice and quali, you can get slowed up a second or two a lap. So that whole undercut thing's not going to work. So it's all about looking at your relative, looking at where you are. But if I was in his car, I would just be following what the leaders do, to be honest, and then race to the end, because it could work. But then at the same time, do you want to give up a top 5, top 6 finish, or do you want to try and risk it this early in round 1 of the season?
Yeah, that's it. It's still a long way to go. I mean, do you go for the championship points? We've had guys come up and win the championship, you know, last season from 5th position. They just stayed consistent. They stayed within the top 5, and you're not always guaranteed to win the race. As noted last night, you know, Sean McNamara, or should I say last season, Sean McNamara came back as reigning champ. He still had a brilliant season, but just couldn't get the race wins under his belt to give it to the boys up front and, you know, defend that title that he had. So it's, with the new talent coming up through the field, a lot of new drivers joining the series that no one's raced against, it's really going to give these guys something to really think about and also talk about outside.
Yeah, 100%. And you referenced Macca, and he's a brilliant driver. He's won the NTS Championship, and Laz won it last season. But some of these guys in this race tonight can be competing for the front in that series as well. So the quality of what we're watching tonight, as opposed to everything else, is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the age difference, the ages of these guys, and to be able to do this, like, it's no mean feat to be able to do 30 odd laps around this track and keep it off the wall. Like, it is, you got to be concentrated. It's intense, and yeah, so it's really good to see what they're doing. It's amazing racing so far.
Well, you've got experience all over the place, mate. Like, you've got Nick Garish at the moment, who's actually a carter up in Mackay. Then you've got all the way down to an ex-Air Force pilot. I mean, an ex-Air Force pilot racing Sims. It's, yeah, there's a big variety of what people do outside of the field. And I'm just going to cut it short there. I believe we've just had Race Control, Chief Steward from Race Control jump into the chat. What can you give us, Anton? What penalties have you been dishing out?
Hey guys, just letting you know, we just issued a drive-through penalty for car 74 for an incident back at lap 1 at turn 4. Sorry, drive-through penalty for car 019 for an incident with car 74 on lap 1 at turn 4. And we also displayed a no further action for car 79 involving an incident with car 99 on lap 6.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Anton. Make sure to keep us posted throughout the race of all the penalties that you guys will be dishing out. I'm sure, should I say, I hope that it's not a busy one for you guys. But it's Longbeach, mate, so anything can happen.
Yeah, thank you, Anton.
So far, and thank you very much, Aiden and Matt, for your contributions tonight.
No
Thanks,
worries.
Anton.
Thanks, Anton. And that 019 car was Jonathan Bain. That was involved in that unfortunate incident on lap 1. So,
down at the hairpin, was it?
Yeah, with that big stack up we had, so that was unfortunate for Jonathan. But like we said, there's drop rounds. That's round 1. So
That's it, and that's the joys of having 2 drop rounds this season, Aiden. I mean, the drivers get to choose which rounds they want to drop, so this could be one of the rounds that he wants to drop. There's 17 weeks, that's 17 rounds, so there's still a long way to go. There's still, a lot of races that they can do really, really well at, or they can have an absolute shocker and not even finish the race. So it's that's something really good to give the drivers across the board. And it will definitely shake things up, because that'll maybe the points leader. For Kai Sloggett, he could win tonight's race, crash out next week's race. He might want to use that as his drop round to sacrifice to bring back his points.
yeah, exactly. But now we look on screen. Now we got Kai Sloggett in the front, but we've got Matthew Scholes. As this race has gone on, Matthew's got a lot stronger. Earlier on, Kai was pulling away. Look at this. Look how he's all over the back of him, trying to make. Is he going to try and make that pass, or is he just trying to make him make a mistake? It's heating up at the front here now. We're going to get close shortly to when they decide when they pit. But
So
does he want
21
to
laps to go, Aiden. So
yeah.
and Garage is definitely putting the pressure on Scholes here as he comes up hard under brakes into turn 1 here, coming up through the roundabout. Might stay on board with him, watch what happens through this lap, coming through the roundabout here, nice and close, up, tucking up under that rear bumper. But Sloggett he's pulled away, he's gapped him by 0.6 of a second, and if these guys keep battling, they're definitely not going to catch him. Sloggett's starting to pull away, he's just gained another 10th through that section of track there, up to a second now they've pulled out, so they're definitely slowing up by having this battle, and they're definitely letting the leader get away, and it's not doing them any good.
Yeah, battling's not what's going to help these guys at the moment. They need to put their head down and follow each other in the tram tracks and try and pull this gap back. The closer they are when they go into the pit stop, it's going to make it easier on the transition out to put themselves in a good position to the end of the race.
Exactly right, and their pit stop will be coming up. I believe they'd be lucky to have 6 laps of fuel left in the car, I reckon. Maybe even be able to push that one up to 7. The guys are going to start thinking about when they want to come in. A few of them might even come in now and try and fill up. Maybe do a little bit of fuel saving, but it's very hard to fuel save around here. You've got a fuel burn of 2.8 litres to the left, so it's very hard to get some fuel saving around here. We've got race control back in channel again. Anton, what news have you got for us?
Anton, you there?
Yeah, guys, 111 has requested a tow, so we've got the safety car out whilst we remove the car from track. We'll only be out for a lap or 2 and we'll be back in the greens.
So pit lane's about to heat up, Aiden. Watch pit lane, because we've got a few cars already coming in. We've got young Leonage up on the jacks here, getting fresh tyres.
Yeah, it's going to light up now. Everyone's going to come in, I think, majority. Some people might try and do the bank on a late safety car, but a lot of the guys in the top 10 are going to come in and pit here.
I'm actually very surprised. It must have Kai Sloggett and should I say the top 10 must have just missed out on the safety car, because they're still out on track.
Yeah, they might have got the pit lane closed. They might have gone past the start-finish line when that happened, and that could actually be really unfortunate for those guys, because the way iRacing works, they might not. If they pit now, they're going to go right to the back of the train.
They will, and that's not where you want to be, especially around a circuit like Longbeach. You can barely fit 2 cars through a corner. It makes it hard. The braking areas are rough. They're bumpy. You've got painted lines. It's going to be hard to come climbing up through the field, especially on cold tyres first lap after a safety car restart. So the guys who have just pitted, though, they've got a little bit of breathing room. As we get Matthew Scholes coming into the pit. Look at that, all the top 10. Top 10 peels off. This is interesting. This really throws the thing into the mix.
This is exactly what I just mentioned. Leonage pitted at a good time. Must have been a good point on the track. This is really going to spice it up, because these guys are going to be able to run to the end now. So this is going to be racing for the win. I know there's 19 laps to go, but they can make it on fuel. So
Oh, they definitely can, no doubt. The top 8 have not pitted though yet, so you've got the likings of Garrett, Booth, Losh, Bradbury, Black, Antoniades, Lagarde, and Gerland. They have not pitted yet. Aaron Hayden, he's still yet to pit. Noble Foster still yet to pit, and Philip Dalton is also still yet to pit as well, as long as Jonathan Ben. So a couple guys haven't pit, but Daniel Stevens was the first to pit. But the main talk here right now, mate, is Kai Sloggett. Look where he is. He's all the way down in 19th position.
100%, 100%. Those top 8 cars that didn't pit, they're going to be banking on a safety car going into the back of the race. But we know how hard it is to pass here, so track position is key. I wouldn't say Kai Sloggett's in a bad spot. I don't think it's going to be easy for him. I think the best guys at the moment are sitting in 10th and 11th and 12th, depending on safety cars. But I reckon those top 8 are going to be banking on a safety car, because if they've got to pit under green, it's going to be a really hard back end of the race for them.
It is, mate. And I'll cut you off there, mate. Or by the looks of it, we've got safety car lights out. No, maybe? No. One more lap. One more lap of safety car. We got Max Losh pulling off into the pits. So that's going to send him right to the back of the field. He's just lost all the time that he's gained. I'm watching him drop down my timing board. 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Yeah, he's going to drop all the way back to the field. So here we go. We got the top 7 who still haven't pitted yet. They're definitely going to bank on this safety car, mate. It's going to make for an interesting end of the race. And the tail end of this race is definitely going to heat up, especially with you've got guys on old tyres, you've got top guys on new tyres. It's going to really throw it in the mix, and it's really going to test these drivers of how well they can control their car defending against the guys on the newer, fresher tyres.
Yeah, exactly. And if we look at second place Kyle Booth, you know, he's got a little bit of damage there on the front left-hand corner. So it'll be interesting to see whether that affects that car. They are teammates there in first and second. But it'll be interesting to see whether he actually has some good car pace coming off, because he's got a little bit of damage there, which tells me he's either used his fast repair and he's got nothing left, or he hasn't and he's waiting for that pit stop, which he hasn't done yet.
100%. And Booth might even play the defending game for Garage here and actually give him some space to pull away from the pack and make some time to put himself in for a good pit stop. So, but I mean, you've got 8th, 10th, and 11th position. You've got Leonage, Vassal, and Noble, I believe. Actually, I'll say that again. Stevens, Clark, and Leonage. They're in a good position to actually potentially make the podium or even take the race wins. So here we go. Safety car lights are out. They're lining up. Garage holding the pace. Tramps on that right pedal, and away we go. Back underway. Garage leading from Booth, Bradbury, Black, Lagarde, Antoniades, Gouland, Stevens, Hayden, and Leonage. Coming down into the first corner, hard under brakes. Few lockups throughout the field. Everyone's getting through nice and clean. Coming up into the roundabout.
Good move there by car number 3 by Daniel Stevens up the inside.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, good move by him. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the first guy that's pitted, so I could be wrong.
Daniel Stevens is the first one to have pitted out of the group there. So he's on the fresher tyres, which he's going to now start putting the pressure on Lagarde and the blokes of Antoniades and Black. So hopefully he can make some good position while he's got the fresh tyres, while these guys yet to decide when they're going to pit. But we've got Garrett and Booth slowly pulling away from the pack here, making out a gap just under a second.
And what garage and boot, or as we have a pass there, and you just open the steering wheel a little bit to let him through. But what Garage and Booth need to do at the front now is just put their head down and just do as good laps as they can and hope for that safety car. Because to be honest, if they don't get that safety car, they're going to be in a bad spot from what I can see in relation to the timing and not pitting. Even the guys behind them, but they want to make as big as gap as they can, and as he just locks the rears going in there, they want to make as big a gap as they can, so when they do come into the pits, if they do have to do it under green, it's a minimal distance that they need to make up.
100%. So we got Kai Slogger, the race leader, who decided to pit whilst on safety car from Middle Finger Racing here. We've got him currently caught up in 16th position, battling the traffic. We know he's quick. The boys are slowly letting him through. They know he's quicker. So he's on immense to try and make up some time and some positions to try and get back up to the pointy end of the field. As my timing boards play up. Booth is, Booth and Garage have pulled out just over a second on Bradbury there.
Oh, a bit of loose in the background.
Bit of loose. Might have been a touch there from Leonage. Leonage might have given him a little bit of a shove, saying, "Oi, get out of my way, I'm faster than you. I'm younger as well. Move."
I reckon Shane just got a little bit loose in the back end there. I reckon
Shane pulled off in the pits.
But that's me looking from the outside in.
That's it. Leonage with the heavy move right now is up into 8th, started from 11th. The young 11-year-old making his debut for the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8-T2 E-Series, or the Development Series as some people like to call it. It's got a lot of heat from the guys of like Sam Noble and Danny Vassal.
He's actually put himself in a really good position, young Leonage. I've got him actually in my prediction when, if this was to go green to the end, his car would be in P2 by the time the pit stops come out.
And he's put himself in a fantastic position to be able to even take his first race win of the new series. So, look, my money is as much as you've got it on Leonage. My money would most likely have to be on Kai Sloggett making his way back up through the field. He's a fast driver. He knows what he's doing and how to steer that car, and he's definitely going to be making up some time right now as he's putting the pressure on. I'm going to have a look at the timing board here quickly. I've lost him, unfortunately. Stephen Martin from Century Esports, KFC, your favourite entry, mate. So, and he's still putting pressure on him coming down the main straight by the looks of it. Yeah. Can't really tell with the sun glare over the bonnets. Both cars look the same, both Holdens. It's a Holden dominant field tonight as well, Aidan. We've got 75% of the field are Holdens.
Yeah, we definitely do. It's interesting to see that who people are selected, whether it's they go for Holden in supercars or whether they just feel better driving it. Yeah, everyone has their own preference, but yeah, you're right, Matt. 75% of the field, rather, are running Holdens, and
it must make you want to cry, mate. I know you're a Ford fan and you beat Blue, but it makes you want to cry not seeing as many Fords on the track.
Oh, mate, yeah, it does. We'll just see who wins, though, eh?
By the looks of it, mate, it's going to be a Holden that's winning.
Yeah, there's a 75% chance, to be honest.
So we've got Danny Vassal leading from Sam Noble, Tony Gaffer, Stephen Martin, Kai Slot. No, my timing board is going absolutely berserk. That is not right. Yep. It's my sorry guys, but all of a sudden Leonage was up in first with the timing board, so
that's
our
right.
timing board's having a little bit of a claim. We'll get back to it and give you a quick rundown. Just on board with Max Losh at the moment from Frigid Chill Racing, as he's well, I can't even tell you who's putting pressure on at the moment. Gavin Sadler, by the looks of it, in the Goodyear Autocare entry.
And it looked like Gavin just had a little bit of a swipe of the wall there on exit.
Side of his car will give us the rundown as he comes out on the inside hard under brakes, coming into turn 1. big lock-up. Couldn't quite get it done. And that's the thing about these development series too, Aiden, is it helps these guys learn how to attack the cars, you know, attack the drivers in front of them, also defend from the drivers behind them. You know, it's one of the big things is it's easy to drive the supercar and get it mastered, but you've got to master your racecraft. You've got to know when to pick your line, when to pick your time, to pull up the inside hard under brakes or hang back, watch what the driver's doing and force the mistake on him by sitting yourself under the rear wing during the corners or up on the straights. You know, make them block, lose time so you can pull up onto them harder and hopefully get that slipstream and pull past them on the straight.
100%. Racecraft's 100%. You got to know when to block though. When you're 10, 20 laps before the end, you got to know when to block. Because if you block too hard, you can make the wrong decision and you can end up taking yourself out of the race. Adversely, you can start the race, and there is a saying, to finish first you must finish. So you can make the mistake and go too hard early, which we saw with the incident on lap 1, and you can ruin your whole race. So yeah, racecraft's a massive thing. You just got to know the people around you, and like I referenced through qualifying, these guys haven't raced around each other yet, so they're still getting to know what each other do and how they race.
Exactly.
Once they know that and they feel comfortable, then it'll get easier for them.
That's exactly right, and some of these guys have raced a couple series now with us. Oh, Nick Garage pulled it up. Oh, good save.
Good bit of
As
car
you can
control there from Nick.
Very good. His tyres must be shot, mate. He'll have to be pulling into the pits sometime soon. But as you can see, yeah, tyres are starting to go away. Here he goes, on cue, into the pits under green flags. So it's going to cost him quite a few positions, along with Kyle Booth as well. So maybe they can get some repairs done, get those cars back out on track. Stephen Black from E1 Sim Sports on screen at the moment. And following the leader now, the new leader, Robbie Bradbury. These two are still yet to pit, so these guys might be trying to get this the overcut, or should I say, overcut, undercut. 2.5, one does the other year. Try and get the cut on the guys that were up in front of them, and try and put in a quick lap time to counteract, to burn a little bit more fuel, so they can take a little bit less fuel on than the other guys that just pitted. So. Effectively, when these guys go in, it's going to put Dan Stevens from
yeah, Stevens is definitely in the box seat for this one.
Yep, Middle Finger Racing in the box seat to potentially take out the top step tonight at Longbeach. Got a replay coming up. That's what have we got? Danny Vassell on Las Leonage. As I say, Lasses Leonage, it's not Lasses Leonage, it's his son, Rehan. That's going to get tricky, especially if Rehan decides to jump up into the Super Series. So Stephen Black into the pits. Bradbury still out in the on track. So definitely getting low right now on fuel. He'd have to be, and effectively, give my timing. Effectively, my timing board's going absolutely berserk again. People are pitting out. So is mine. I'm trying to keep up as well. It's currently saying that Rehan's sitting in 3rd position, which I'll have a look at the scroller down the bottom here. But he is sitting in 3rd position. So Rehan with the big move.
I predicted that he was in the right spot, that he was going to be in the top 3. He put his car in a good position through those first pit stops. Look, remember with that first pit stop and the yellow come out and the top 8 couldn't pit. He was just at the right place at the right time, so he's in a good place to be able to convert into a good first round.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure at the moment from Sam Noble from behind. He's really putting the pressure on the young Leonage here, getting right up under his wing, showing him the headlights, having a peek under brakes. So Rehan will definitely be feeling the pressure, but I reckon Dad's in his ear, calming him down, being his engineer, telling him, right, put the car here, put the car there, keep it cool, breathe, pick those apexes. And as Jimmy from Cruise Chief says, apexes and exits, apexes and exits. As as Noble has a huge slide coming out of the hairpin onto the main straight.
That'll.
Leonage is now up in a second. Robbie Bradbury is in the pits. Leonage has now gone into second. But Dan Stevens now leads the race, followed by Leonage, Noble, Gaffer, Robert Brewer up 23 positions. He's had a massive run this race. Aiden, we've got David Nash behind him, Matthew Scholes, Damien Cairns, Thea Alessi, and Trent McCarthy round out the top 10.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just trying to wait for my timing to refresh. I'm sorry about that, just to
all right, mate.
try and keep up with it. But yeah, Daniel Stevens looking good, up 9 spots from his grid 10 start position. Rehan Leonage into second and Sam Noble into third, as you said. But if you have a look back into P5, Robbie Brewer 23 spots up on the start.
That's ridiculous, mate. And I raced Super Series last night. I had a big slog. I unfortunately started from pit lane and came up through the ranks. I had a big feat, but nowhere near as big a feat as that, mate. That's a big haul up through the field. And to be honest, I think he's played his cards right. But in saying that, my timing board's still saying he's yet to pit. So
yeah, I don't have that. I'm sorry. Mine's still
That's
trying
right.
to refresh, so I do apologise.
As they all bank up through the hairpin, a little bit of push and shove through the hairpin, bit of a squirm. It's all happening here at Longbeach. Just hearing, and I'm seeing someone drop down the leaderboard here. Kyle Booth must have had an incident because he... No.
Kai Floggett's had an
Floggett.
incident.
Kai
The guy who
Floggett
set the
robbing.
pace the whole race.
Wonder if we can find a replay somewhere. I've just watched my timing board and I've just watched him drop all the way down to the bottom, all the way into 30th. So he's had a horrible run, Kai Sloggett.
And I mentioned that again at the beginning of the top broadcast. You know, it doesn't matter where you start. There's always going to be something around this treacherous track. You got walls everywhere. So yeah, that's really unfortunate for Kai.
It is. And I was actually really hoping he'd be up there on the podium tonight. He set the fastest lap in qualifying, which I mentioned as well. He does get a couple bonus points for that, as Robert Brewer has a huge slide coming out of the corner. As back to what I was saying, Sloggett's got a few bonus points from posting the fastest qualifying time, so he'll use that against the points that he accumulates for this round. But I have a feeling, mate, that he might be using this one as a drop round, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate for the young man because he drove amazing through practice qualifying. He would have put a lot of effort into this to be able to put that car where it was, and he was really quick early. And as we mentioned early in the broadcast, if he would have put those laps together, he would have been pretty much unstoppable. It was just unfortunate where that safety car fell and where his car was positioned. He had to pit while the safety car was going around, so that put his car in a bad position, which is obviously going to put him at a higher chance to have an incident, which has obviously happened.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate. So feel bad for him, but that's racing, and he'll move on to the next one.
That's it. Well, before I jump on to, we might wait another lap, mate, just before we do the crank the volume and have a hot lap around the Longbeach circuit with Dan Stevens, our leader. Anton Gilbert, the chief steward for race control, he's jumped into the chat, mate. Anton, what's happening, mate?
Guys, just a quick update on some penalties we've handed out. We've issued a drive-through for car 408 for contact with car 11 on lap 23 there. We've also got a drive-through for car 71 for contact with car 33 on lap 23. And we've just handed out another drive-through for car 588 for contact with car 888 on his lap 20. We've had cars number 33 and 11 request to tow. Luckily they were in a safe enough spot, and this late in the race we decided not to go with the safety car. We'll let these boys race through till the end.
Mate, it sounds like you guys are getting slammed in that booth at the moment, so I think after this race, mate, you guys deserve a nice cold beer. But thank you for joining in, Anton. We're going to get back to the racing. We've got Dan Stevens out in the lead, mate, and Aiden, what do you reckon? As he comes onto the main straight, we'll go for a hot lap and crank the volume up?
Yeah, let's crank the volume. Let's get behind Dan Stevens here and see what it's like doing a lap.
Righto, guys, sit back, enjoy, turn that volume right up, and listen to Dan Stevens take you for a hot lap around Longbeach Circuit. How was that, ladies and gentlemen? That was a flying lap around Longbeach Circuit by Daniel Stevens, our leader of the race. We've got Leonage behind him in second, the young 11-year-old making his debut in the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8 Development Series here. Followed up behind him, Sam Noble from NHB Racing, which on my timing boards at the moment, Aiden, it's showing that Sam still needs to take a pit. So I wonder what's happening there.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm showing he hasn't had a pit stop either. So these front two guys are pretty much got it in the bag if they can just keep it straight. Don't know what's happened with Sam's strategy rather in P3. Maybe, like I said earlier, waiting for that late safety car. But looking at lap times though, he's bang on Leonage his lap times in front of him. So his car's still under him. But yeah, very good answer with that, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, it must be just our time boards playing up here, Aiden, who knows. But we've got Nash following in behind, Gaffer, Scholes, McCarthy, Alessi, Hockey and Racanello rounding out the top 10.
And we had race control, sorry. We had race control earlier on, Matt, sorry, and we were talking about Kai Sloggett. He got a drive-through earlier, as they just heard. He was one of the cars that got the drive-through, so that's why he went to the back.
Yeah. So as our chief steward said, he did cop a drive-through penalty, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. Obviously, pushing just that little bit too hard through the pack to try and make up some time and get those positions back has put him into a little bit of misfortune by taking out another car, most likely. So hopefully he can come back next week bigger and better. I've just had word in the ear. We've had a few guys check for us. Sam Noble has completed his stop, so he's actually in contention here. We are battling for second against Leonage here. So it's literally Dan Stevens has walked away with this. He's out 8 seconds in front. He's left it up to Leonage and Noble to bat it out for the last remaining steps on the podium. So this is going to be on to the finish, I reckon.
Yeah, most definitely. This is going to be the battle to watch, I think, going into the end. This is for the final 2 steps on the podium. So these guys, they're either going to play it cool or they're going to really fight for second and third. So keep your eyes on this one, guys, and see how they play this out into the end of the race. From watching Sam, I think he's very, very keen to get past young Leonage. So, but there is a train behind them coming too. So the more they fight this, the more they're going to catch up. So they got to play this smart. If they play too hard, they will go from a 2-car battle into a 6.
That's it. And the young Rehan, he's learnt off the best. His father's the reigning champion for the for the series last year, leading into the Super Series this year. Laz is one hard man to pass, and if he's taught his son Rehan well, then Rehan's just going to be just as tough to pass. So being an 11-year-old, debut, second position right now, I mean, I'll give the kid credit. He's driven the absolute wheels off this supercar tonight, and he's done one amazing job at it.
Absolute superstar in the making. And if I look up there now, there's only 2 laps to go, so he just keeps his head straight and or his car straight, sorry, and his head together. He'll pull off a 2nd or 3rd place, and that's an amazing first outage for the young man. So he should hold his head up high and really be proud of that. The amazing drive where he started in the field, it's really, really great.
That's it. So we've just got a little bit of special commentary quickly for the second last lap here. We've got Luke Georgeson on board with us. Luke, mate, fill us in. What's happening?
Down the main straight right in the brake zone, and it sort of come on, and I got off the accelerator, but as it was glitching forward, I could just hear it at full rev, so it was straight into the fence.
Mechanical dramas, that's not good.
Yeah, that's right. So, but it's been a bit of a night like that tonight. So.
Nah, that's right, mate. How's your car tonight? Quickly before we wrap it up onto the last lap, mate. Have to let you go. Sorry, but
yeah.
How was your car tonight, mate? How was your race?
Yeah, just got turned around a couple of times, so yeah, sort of come all the way back from dead last to 15th or 16th or something. I thought was pretty good, and then yeah.
Then the glitch happened, unfortunately, mate. Well, look,
Yeah.
There's always next week. We've got a couple drop rounds this season, so maybe you can use this as one of your drop rounds and come back next week and give it to the boys up the front.
We will, mate. We will, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Luke.
No worries.
There you go, a little bit of something different. A few drivers popping in for a chat as well as race control, so that's good to see. As we've got Dan Stevens coming around into the hairpin to jump onto his final lap for the Longbeach 100.
There he is.
Flush at the lights, and that's
He's
it.
got
That's
the
the
win.
race.
Good drive by
Longbeach
Luke.
100 done and dusted. We've got Dan Stevens takes out the win, followed up by Leonage, the young 11-year-old in second position on his debut. What an absolute fantastic race by that kid. David Nash follows him up in 3rd position. Obviously, Sam Noble's had a little bit of an incident. He's down in 4th. Wonder what happened to him. We've got Gaffer, Scholes, McCarthy, Alessi, Braccanello, and rounding out the top 10, by the looks of it, is Cairns. So, guys, that's the top 10 there. What an absolute amazing race. Stay tuned. We've got the podium jumping in for a chat. Get a little bit of insight from them. But Aiden, what was your thoughts on the race, mate? What do you reckon?
What an amazing race, Matt. Like, that was amazing. We had an incident early on lap 1, but outside of that, we really went green the whole way. The level of driving that we saw with these guys and the quality was absolutely amazing. It was such a good race to watch and such a pleasure to broadcast.
Oh, that's it, mate. The boys raced well for the first round of the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8 Development Series. It was an extremely good race. Only a couple safety cars, which is expected around a circuit like this. It's tight. It's not forgiving whatsoever with concrete barriers, and it's good to see the racecraft so early on in this championship at such a high level. The boys are giving them the room, and the boys are giving room. They're knowing when to pull out of to battles and just to sit in behind. So as we come into the unofficial results here, we've got Stevens, Leonage, Nash, Noble, Gaffer, Scholes, McCarthy, Alessi, Raccanello, and Damien Cairns rounding out the top 10. We got Dale Hockey, Jonathan Benn, Nicholas Garrett, Stephen Black, Robbie Bradbury, Dylan Lagarde, Max Losh, Gavin Sadler, Paul Gerlin, Peter Antonatis at the top 20. We've got Robert Braw, Danny Vassell, Peter Latham, Aaron Hayden, Craig Casper, Thomas Foster, Luke Georgeson, Kai Sloggett after that unfortunate drive-through penalty, Shane Clark, and if I just keep scrolling here, I missed the last one unfortunately. I'm sure I'll get that relayed to me, but by the looks of it, you know what this car means? It's victory burnout time, mate.
100%. 100%.
Well earned.
Great drive by Dan tonight. But just before we cross to the driver interviews for the top three, we just need to make another shout out to the sponsors of the series, Goodyear, Autocare, Warana. They're a major sponsor, but we've got the co-sponsors with Blue Stampede Labour Hire and a Brucey Racewear. Also, Coghlan Engineering for those setups for the cars. Without these guys, this wouldn't have been been able to happen. So, thank you guys. Thank you for being a part of the series. It's really amazing. We look forward to a long season. Just can't thank you enough. Without you guys, this wouldn't happen.
That's it, mate. It's all about the sponsors with these sort of series. We need them. They help everything get together. They help the cars get on track. They help us provide overlays, and they help us give you guys the picture that you guys see at home. So big thank you to those guys. What do you reckon? I'll bring David Nash into the room and we'll give him an interview. What do you say, Aiden?
Yeah, let's go 3, 2, 1.
Beautiful. Let's do it, mate. David, congratulations, mate. 3rd position for the first round of the for the series. May as well just kick it off, mate. How'd your race go? How was the car? What did you think?
It was alright. It was that last lap, the last 2 laps was absolutely crazy. I don't know how I got past guy in front of me. Pitted early.
Sam Noble, I believe.
Yeah, pitted early. Maybe shouldn't have. I don't know where everybody else pitted, but yeah, tyres fell off a bit. But then the safety car let them come back up. So yeah, happy days.
Mate,
Yeah, good race, David. It was good. Sorry, Matt.
Nah,
good
go for
race,
it,
David. It was good to watch, mate. Good driving. The strategy did play a part. People early missed that pace car and didn't pit correctly, or not. I can't say correctly. They missed the pit rather. How do you reckon that worked out in your race? Do you reckon it worked out in your favour? I know you just said that your tyres were going off, but was it that bad late, or were you comfortable?
Probably could have gone the lap earlier, maybe, and gone back on the train, because we did the second lap under the safety car. So maybe, yeah. It was just that the last 5 laps was struggling. So yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Mate, rookie season in the GAC series. Obviously, not many people know. We haven't really seen your name pop about. So, what's your background in sim racing, mate? How long have you actually been in this sim racing gig for?
10 months, actually.
10 months, and you've taken out a podium position in the first round. So, mate, that's an absolute drive of the drive of your night, I reckon. I was lost for words then. I just had a bit of a brain fade. Sorry. So, but absolute amazing drive, mate, to bring out 3rd position in your first race for the Goodyear Autocare development series. What did you think of the setup tonight? How was the setup in the car, and did it perform to what you expected?
Yeah, I'll be using a lot of VRS on this track. This setup's safe. Little lacking on the lot of understeer, and not so much oversteer, where I'm more of a enjoy the oversteer. So, but all in all, it was a safe setup, and I guess in these development series, you need that safe setup. So it kind of worked well.
Hit the nail on the head, mate. Hit there, mate. Exactly right. You do need the safe setups in these series. So, mate, obviously the car looked like it was on rails for you for the race. I know you said your tyre started to go at the end of the race, but obviously to get to 3rd position and make up 3 spots where you started, it must have been on rails. So amazing race, mate. And is there anyone that you would like to thank before we let you go?
Just right, Sim racing team. They've just invited me in the last month, and Mag and Turbo in Hamilton, New Zealand. Bruce there. So yeah, he's been helping me out a bit as well. So yeah, it's been good.
Beautiful, mate. Well, hang around, mate. We might come back to you once we've interviewed the other podium drivers. So just hang tight, mate. We'll get back to you. But congratulations once again.
Thanks,
Congratulations, David. Well done. Great to
Thank
watch.
you.
Now, Aiden, the talk of the field tonight, the talk of the commentary booth, the talk of the series, and I reckon everyone's talking about it.
I can't wait to talk to this young man.
The young Rehan Leonage, the son of the famous Lassus Leonage, the reigning champion from last season, taking out second position. Rehan, mate, what an amazing drive. You drove the wheels off all race. It's your debut. Fill us in, mate. How'd you go? What did you think of it?
Well, it was a tough race, that's for sure. I was getting a lot of pressure from the others behind me. Just try to keep up with the people in spots in front of me, and it worked. Pitting onto safety car also worked because then straight to podium from there.
We did see that, mate. And tell me, mate, was someone in your ear? Would a certain someone be in your ear telling you to pit under that safety car to give you that optimal position to be able to take out this second place tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying that when you watch back the stream, but that was actually really good strategy, Rehan, and really, really good drive. Really good drive. I predicted that with the overlap as soon as you came in and did that pit strategy because the 8 cars in front of you missed that. But really good drive, mate, and you should be really proud. That was really, really good, mature driving.
Thank you.
Rehan, now Long Beach circuit, it's a bit of a tricky one, mate. How much practice did you do leading up to Long Beach, and what did you think of it?
I did a lot of practice, that's for sure. I thought it was a very tough track to start with.
Yep.
But then did some practice, total of 10.5 hours.
That's a lot of hours, mate. That's probably a lot more than what most people did throughout the field. So that's the credit to itself.
Once I got used to the track, it became easier. Just me getting faster was all I needed.
Now, did you end up going out on track with Dad and doing some laps and following him and trying to keep up with him?
No, actually, because I knew that I would not be able to stick with him. And most of the time when he was practicing, I wasn't even there. So.
Yep. Nah, look, amazing job, Rehan. Second place. You're 11 years of age, and just showing it up to guys who are 3, 4, 5 times your age. So, mate, that's a big feat in itself, and well done. You've got the air, mate. We'll give it to you. Is there any sponsors you'd like to thank? And anyone else that you'd like to thank along the way?
I'd like to thank just all of the sponsors. And I'd like to thank JP for giving me the opportunity of me being able to be in this. And I also thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to do sim racing.
There we go, mate. There we go. Look, stick around, Rehan. We'll have a chat a bit later. We'll interview the pole sitter and or should I say the winner, Dan Stevens. Stick around, mate. Amazing drive. You drove well all race, and I'm speechless, mate. You've done such an amazing job. Thank you.
Yeah, well done, Rehan. I'll match what Matt said. That was amazing, mate. I'm absolutely speechless, and that was a brilliant drive.
Well, podium first GAC race in my books, that's a win.
That's
Hell yeah,
exactly
mate.
right,
Yeah.
mate. Good attitude to have. Thanks, Rehan.
Thanks.
Now onto our race winner from Middle Finger Racing, Dan Stevens. He came from 9 positions down, came out of nowhere. Aiden, you didn't even have him on your books. I didn't have him on my books either to win the race. He just popped up out of nowhere, played obviously the strategy game and did it sensational. Dan, congratulations, mate, on the race win. Saw you had a little bit of a victory burnout there, and then it stopped. What happened?
Oh man, I ran out of fuel.
it strikes.
Well, I was fuel saving. I had that 8-second gap, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'm sweet. I'll just cruise home. And then I looked at the gauge, and I thought, oh shit. Oops, sorry. And then I thought, oh, I got a fuel save, and I was honestly, I was panicking. I didn't think I was going to make it.
Well, mate, you made it home on a drip from an oily rag. Well done, mate. It's first race of the season. You're a major IndyCar follower. or Majors IndyCar California 500 winner, I should say. You're from New Zealand, racing over here with this guy. Most of the boys from Australia. What did you think of the series? First race of the series, mate?
I actually like it. I actually watched you guys last season because a few of our lads were racing, so I supported them in the chats and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna join in this time. It took a year off in the V8, so I thought, yeah, this is the prime series to jump into.
Excellent, mate. Aiden, I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, you did amazing, Dan. You came from nowhere. Like when we were looking on timing and stuff, to be honest, during the race, we weren't talking a lot about you until the end of it, and you just drove the perfect race. You were like the secret assassin.
I wouldn't exactly say it was perfect because I gave my teammate Daryl a bit of a tap in turn 1 on the opening lap, and it was only the smallest touch, and it gave him a meatball, so I felt real bad for that whole time. And then I hit the wall under safety car as well for some reason, and I tapped the wall again, so it wasn't a perfect race at all. But
oh well, don't worry about the meatball, mate. Ask my teammates. My nickname's Meatball, but anyway, it's not about me. Good driving, mate. It was a really good race. Well drove. How you managed that at the end of the race, being 8 seconds in front, and us not knowing that you were trying to fuel save and everything. The way you managed that race at the end was really good, and that was a really good win. So be proud, mate. That was really good.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for that.
That's all right. Dan, before we let you go, mate, I'll ask you one more question and let you have the floor for some sponsors. How'd you find the tyres throughout the race, mate? It's obviously Longbeach it's a killer on tyres. There's a lot of elevation change throughout the whole entire track. You're constantly loading up the corners of the tyres by accelerating. How did you go manage them? How did you find the drop off of the tyres?
The first 5 laps were actually pretty good, but then after that, if you missed your mark by a meter or so, that was it. You saw the wall and you overshot the corner, so you pretty much had to back it off about lap 6 or so, lap 6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah, then they just plateaued after that.
Yep. Well, it's a lot of people had troubles with tyres by the looks of it throughout the race, but mate, we'll wrap it up. I'll let you have the floor. Is there any sponsors that you'd like to thank? Anyone from home, friends, family?
Yeah, mate. From the boys at Middle Finger Racing, the great bunch of guys to race with. Look Molly, WP Concreting, Snap On Tools Blacktown, Aussie Signs and Designs, and Virtual Car Art, mate. That's about it for this year.
Nah, beautiful, mate. Look, congratulations again on the race win. You're now, by the looks of it, you're sitting as the points leader. Unofficial results at the moment, but you're looking at sitting at the points leader. Leading into next round, you've got the big target on your back. You've set the standard. So, look, all good. Best of luck for the next race. We Aiden and I look forward to watching to see how you pull up in it. But going off to Barber next week, you excited?
Yeah, I haven't really done much in the V8s around Barber, but I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure.
I'll just drag Dave and Rehan back in quickly, and I'll ask them the same question. Dave, heading off. I just spoke to Dan then, saying that we're heading off to Barber. What do you reckon, Dave? It's favourite track of yours? Haven't raced there.
I enjoy it. I enjoy that track. That's all.
What about you? I will take that as you might be the one to look out for at Barber.
Nah.
Rehan, mate, have you done much driving at Barber yet? Has Dad put you on the scene to get you in training already, or?
I don't even have the tracks, or no.
Oh well, I best you go pinch into Dad's back pocket there, I reckon, and ask him to purchase it for you.
Yeah.
After a round like that, that's it's going to be really interesting racing in round 2, guys. I'm really excited for this.
It's some pretty close racing.
It definitely is. And it makes it for an interesting commentary booth. There's stuff happening all over the field. I mean, we had, I'm probably sure Dave, Rian, you guys probably didn't even know, but Dan was actually fuel saving towards the end of the race there. So there's so much going on that us in the commentary booth don't know about. But all we can see is that the racing's, it's action-packed, it's tight, it's close. The top 20 tonight, just in qualifying, was separated by a second.
Good.
Like,
That's real good.
Can I just quickly say something?
Yeah, go for it, Dan. You got the floor, mate. Go for it.
Just hearing Rian now, I'll tell you what, he was one hard person to get past, that's for sure. So he drove like a true professional.
Yeah, and I'll second that, Dan. We said that in commentary, and he did drive amazing. He did a really good job tonight. Drove really amazing, like did every other driver tonight. It was really good to watch. So that's what the series is about. That's what we want to bring to the series. And as a broadcasting with Matt, it was a pleasure to broadcast and pleasure to watch you guys race hard.
Beauty, mate, beauty.
Awesome. Thanks for putting it on, guys. Really appreciate all that.
Yeah.
No dramas, guys. We'll let you go anyway. We'll wrap up this. So, Dan, Dave, Rehan, thanks for joining us, guys. Congratulations again on the win, Dan. Awesome drive by all three, and we look forward to seeing you guys at Barber next week.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, so championship points, unofficial results. Dan Stevens, our race winner, up on top with 150. Lenage, Nash, Noble, McCarthy, Gaffer, Scholes, Alessi, Racanello, and Cairns rounding out the top 10. Then followed up by Hockey, Ben, Nick Garrett, Stephen Black, Robbie Bradbury, Dylan Lagarde, Max Losh, Gavin Sadler, Paul Gerland, Peter Antonatis, Robert Braw, Danny Vassell, Peter Latham, Aaron Hayden, Craig Casper, Kai Sloggett, after an unfortunate race, all the way down there in 26th position with 101 points. Tommy Foster, Luke Georgeson, Shane Clark, Kyle Booth, and bringing up the rear end of the championship, we've got Stephen Martin, Philip Dalton, Andrew Johnson, Colin Burns, Peter Kelly, Craig. I won't even mention that name. That is our safety car driver, and he's scored 80 championship points. How about that one? Aiden, mate, thanks for joining me tonight. It was an absolute pleasure having you in the commentary booth tonight.
No, thank you, Matt. It was amazing racing. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the next 16 rounds. Some of the racing we've seen tonight was amazing. I hope that all the viewers out there enjoyed it, enjoyed watching, seeing the strategies, seeing different things that went on. Thank you to all the sponsors that come on and allow this to happen. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. Thank you to SimShed Broadcasting to be able to allow us to be involved in this. We look forward to round 2 next week. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Let's wrap it up. That was the goal. Goodyear, Autocare, Warana, Longbeach 100. Going off to Barber next week. Interesting track. I personally haven't raced there, so I better get some seat time for the Super Series. But off to Barber. It's going to be interesting. We've got a tight-knit field. As you can see from tonight, top 20 separated by just 1 second. So it's going to make for some interesting racing. But for now, guys, I'm Matt Davis. Joined by Aidan Schultz, JP behind the cams on these track cams for Gourmet. Thanks for joining us, and good night.
Good night. See ya.